When it comes to harvesting world-class whitetails, the guys that make up Team 200 know how to get it done. With well over a century of combined knowledge in the whitetail woods and countless big bucks on their walls, what do these guys know, and how do they get it done year in and year out? Every good game plan has to start somewhere, and with Team 200, nothing can replace the importance of some good old-fashioned scouting.
You know, I think in general you have deer hunters, and then you have hunters that are after specific deer. And for the last 2 decades, I've really focused on hunting specific animals. And you know, when I break it down, I probably actually spend 10 days scouting to every one that I spend hunting.
The first thing I go to is the moon guide. I'm just gonna check when the red moon times are, especially the early and late seasons when you're depending on deer to break cover to eat or feed. And you'll just notice that there's certain times of the month where these deer are more active than others.
And this is kind of an out-of-the-bag secret now, but the Deer Hunter's Moon Guide can tell you when those mature bucks are going to be on their feet in daylight.
Doing all that legwork and observation and figuring out exactly where you need to be to kill that animal. If you're patient enough and you've got enough discipline to
Summer can be a great time to catch big bucks with their guards down. Bachelor groups are often seen gorging themselves on the lush green leaves of soybeans and alfalfa during the dog days of summer. But even with the open of archery season still months away, the oldest and wisest animals still don't like to be seen. These seasoned hunters know there are only a handful of days each month when they have their best chance of catching these giants on the move in daylight. Whether it's during the heat of the summer months or the middle of bow season, these guys believe the red moon is the key to daylight activity when it comes to chasing giant whitetails.
You know, I get asked all the time, what is the red moon? What's the deal about the red moon? I tell you, in its simplest form, the red moon is a handful of days every month when either the overhead or underfoot moon peaks at prime time. First and last hour of daylight when deer want to move anyway. The best nights to catch those big old bucks out feeding before dark are right on the red moon.
What to say, it's an incredible animal. Biggest buck I've ever seen.
And the only nights I was able to actually get footage of this buck during daylight was right on the red moon. You know, that was the light bulb moment for me when it comes to my summer scouting.
Got some video of him this summer in velvet and a couple times out of velvet.
And I knew at that point that I'd been missing the boat for the last 10 years and that I needed to start paying attention to the red moon days on the moon guide for not just my hunting season, but for summer scouting too.
You know, for me, I've killed 7 Boone and Crockett's, 1 over 200.
Just trying to put some of the pieces to the puzzle together, and that's what you got to do on these big deer. You can't just show up and expect to kill them. So,
you know, the Moon Guide played a huge role in the hunt for Elvis. Everyone knows it was a 3-year hunt. A lot of things happened in between, but I was waiting for the first red moon and the right wind direction. Ended up being one of the best velvet nights of my life. You know, I had at that year, he was probably 220-inch whitetail, literally, 35 yards from me, standing in a bean field feeding. There were several things that I took away from that encounter with him. I knew what field he was using early season. I knew what wind he was using to get in there. He was pretty active around those red moon times.
The moon phase it doesn't get any better than it was tonight, and the moon phase was about 7 o'clock. And it's like 10 after 7, and we're just now back to the ranger, so he's using the moon.
What happened at the end of that, there was a dog that came through and actually spooked some deer in the timber, and he exited the field. So You know, the first place I'm going to go look is where did he go when he felt threatened. You know, I know where he came from. I know where he was going. I know why he was there, when he was there. And now the other piece of information is I know his exit route.
I've been hunting this buck for 3 years now. I usually get 1 or 2 opportunities at him a year, and then he just turns into a ghost the rest of the season. I feel truly blessed to even share the same woods with an animal like this.
Killed the biggest whitetail in my life. You know, guys spend thousands of dollars on their setup, but in my opinion, this little $20 guide that tells you when to go in and when not to go in is invaluable in my whitetail, you know, success.